like, damn, slow down. I know you see a queen adjusting her crown. She been knocked down, but she never stayed down. She been living life like it's her playground. And they be like, damn, slow down. They can catch us, she be moving too fast.
Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, y'all. Hopefully y'all can hear me. My microphone broke. Well, not the microphone, but the stand. So I ain't even dealing with it right now. But shout out to India. She is the one that tipped me off about this, y'all. I have been running my mouth all day long and I had not been keeping up with my stories. So this one really just jumped out to me and it's really, really sad, you guys. So, as you guys see in the title, I'm giving you guys an update, an unfortunate update about Peter Spencer. I just covered this story about 3 weeks ago in regards to Peter Spencer going on that camping hunting trip with a co-worker slash friend on December 12th and not coming home alive. He suffered a lot of GSWs to his body, and his family and friends have been really fighting for justice this entire time. And unfortunately, we have an update about what has happened. Yes, with the YT people. Yes, Summer. And with the update, let me just refresh y'all about what happened. So remember, he had 9 GSWs to his body. There was 2 in his back. There was 1 in his neck. And then the independent autopsy that his family had done, he suggests that all of the shots were to his back and really not to his chest, but he could not prove it because he was waiting for the written autopsy report from the county. And one second, child. And sorry about that. So they at that time they had not given it over to them, and they said that basically they were going to get Peter Spencer's case with the hate crimes division in Venango County, and that they was severely looking into this and that they take this case seriously. Well, I have the news report right now just to show you guys what is going on with this case. This issues, I don't know what they want from us at this point, but it's getting to the point where it's like, y'all really, let me just not, one second, y'all. Let me just share it.
We have breaking news now out of Venango County. The district attorney's office just released a statement on the shooting death of Peter Spencer. The office says the investigation shows that the shooting was justified by way of self-defense or the defense of others under the Castle Doctrine. We'll have much more on this coming up in our later newscast and on our website.
So there you guys heard it. The DA announced that this was a ruling of self-defense and that they are not charging any of the men that was at the cabin the night or the day that Peter Spencer was killed in front of the lawn, and for his fiance to drive up and see him. Now, I do actually have the actual article and I'm about to pull it up and read it to you guys now. What are y'all thoughts? Did y'all see this coming? Like the fact that they said it is no, this is self-defense. They said that he was basically acting crazy. Yes, India, I read that too on Facebook, that he had hallucinogens, like as if he was on some type of drugs in his body that made him act out. But the way that they describe this, form of self-defense is crazy. So I'm going to read it for you guys here. As you guys see, this picture that is on the screen, it shows you guys that everyone is rallying around fighting for the justice of Peter Spencer. He was an expectant father. He leaves behind his fiance, who is giving birth in June to a baby boy who can't even meet his father. And the way that they're going to paint Peter Spencer out is just not right. So the article reads, shooting death of Peter Spencer justified as self-defense, Venango County DA announces. This is at 12:40 today. And it says, Venango County District Attorney Sean White announced Tuesday that no charges will be filed in the shooting death of 29-year-old Peter Spencer in the woods of Venango County. Spencer was shot and killed on December 12th while at a friend's camp. No one involved in this was hunting. I've seen the narrative out that 6 white hunters lured someone from a big city to set him loose in the woods and ambush him. It's absolutely false, said District Attorney Sean White. Now, y'all know that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. He was hunted. He was lured. It's not false. Why was only one person killed? Why wasn't anyone else suffering from anything? He was lured. India says, isn't marijuana classified as a hallucinogenic drug? They are trying to imply that he went crazy or something. Yeah. So as I keep going on the article, sorry, I lost my page. It says, this case has gained a lot of attention after it took 3 months for the district attorney to release any details. I needed to know the entry wounds. I needed to know the exit wounds. I needed to know the number of shots and the trajectory, White said. White is the DA. White told Channel 11 that he didn't get any autopsy report until February 25th. In the last 2 weeks, he matched all the evidence and statements together to determine that the suspect who shot and killed Spencer was acting in self-defense. It took you 2 weeks? But you just said that it took 3 months for the district attorney to release any details. He didn't have any details until February 25th. You see how they lie? There were threats made to shoot the place that the suspect believed Spencer intended to kill them all. The suspect turned around with an AK. This is Spencer. The suspect turned around with the AK-47 pointed at him by Spencer. The suspect drew a 9mm pistol, White said. White said the suspect will not be criminally charged per the state stand your ground law. This is not a case of where he shot once and disabled or that someone got up and executed him. This is not a case where a gun was put in his mouth and shot execution style, White said. As for the guns, the suspects had the right to carry, but Spencer brought 2 assault rifles to camp that were not permitted to him. The state attorney general was already investigating these matters of the victim and acquaintances in the PA area, or Pittsburgh area, White said. The Attorney General's office could not confirm this active investigation, but White said that the serial number for one of the assault rifles was removed and the weapon was traced to an investigation that involved Spencer before his weekend-long trip to Venango County. In my humble opinion, they are trying to develop whether there are ghost guns and gun trafficking going on in the general public, White said. While the homicide case is closed, the investigation continues into the guns and drugs. White said all the witnesses were upfront about drugs being used on the property that day. Toxicology shows Spencer did have drugs in his system, and the witnesses said after the drug use was when he became reckless and started firing shots. As for this case, it was as if this case was a hate crime or a racial bias. State police said there was no evidence of it. Can we please talk about how they tried to cover up his murder and justify them saying that these people acted in self-defense by making him a criminal? And what does the law say? You are innocent until proven guilty. But you guys try to justify as if, oh, he had these 2 rifles he was shooting, and those rifles wasn't allowed by him. They weren't permitted to him. What the fuck does that have to do with him being shot? What does it have to do with him being shot? Make it make sense. I'm honestly confused. It doesn't matter. First of all, let's rewind. Let's rewind. How could he start shooting an AK-47 and someone pulls out a 9mm pistol and he somehow thought it was okay to shoot Spencer 9 times. That's not overkill. It was a room full of people, but only one started to act crazy. And this one person who was not that big of a guy, not that heavy set, could not be stopped. It took 9 bullets. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Please tell me how you gonna tell me that they acted in self-defense, there was no racial bias, but this article and the statements that White's bitch ass made scream racial bias. You justify someone losing their life because, oh, now we're looking into drugs and guns. Sir, seriously? Are we serious right now? Are we serious? Yes, Tangela. Everyone walked out. No bruises, no scars, no nothing. None of them were injured. And 9 shots. 9 shots. Talking about this wasn't an execution. Then what was it? And then, mind you, let's just get back to it. Why y'all get this shit February 25th and he passed away December 12th? But y'all want to tell us it's been 3 months when these people have been marching and asking for answers, and you got this on your desk February 25th and you done that fast? I'm not understanding how it took you 2 weeks. That's mighty fast. Y'all investigating cases like that in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh? Like what? Are you serious? So it was only one person, Chrissy, that he knew, and that was his coworker. But it was really an acquaintance. This coworker and him have hung out together on several occasions. His coworker has been to Peter's house and even his mother's house for dinner. They have eaten together, everything. One second, y'all. Let me go in my room because I'm in the kitchen. It's not fair for me to tell Nakari to be quiet while she's playing. Let me go in my office. 1 second. Okay, y'all, I'm back. So I don't understand. Yeah, now, yeah, he was basically, yeah, they're saying that he was basically someone that slang drugs and weapons. Yeah, his fiance was very adamant about her being uncomfortable with him going to this camping trip, being out there. Like she never liked it from the jump. And it's really weird that they they have the audacity to do this and speak this way. Like I just don't like how, and I know his family doesn't appreciate this either. Like it's so much important. Like when you deal with death, that what people see you as doesn't really matter. Like, okay, it's easy to say, oh yeah, whatever. They don't really know him. But if Peter Spencer's son ever wanted to look up the story of his father, God forbid, he would have to pull up articles that make his father seem like this bad person. And that is where the audacity, that's where it hurts. That's where it's like, y'all really wrote this shit? Y'all really said that this man had 2 rifles and one article said that Peter Spencer, one man, made a room full of white men lay down. And they were all scared. And the 25-year-old guy was the one that acted bravely and saved the day. But if his son was to look up these articles and see what they think of his father, what they said of his father, it would be heartbreaking. It would be sad. Because why would you guys say that about a good man, or say that without for real evidence? Especially when y'all only looked at this case for 2 weeks, and the whole time this family has been marching. Y'all knew y'all didn't have that shit. Y'all never let this family know that y'all didn't have not one piece of evidence yet. Since December 12th, they had been asking for an update. Y'all was ignoring their calls, being rude, treating them very much so like that, Peter Spencer's life didn't matter. And the date that y'all got this was February 25th. Y'all, it's just so sad. It really is. Like, I can't believe it. And it's so sad because it's like, where do we go as a people? Where do we go as a collective? Because it doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how right you try to be, how kind. Like I told you guys in my live about Peter Spencer, everyone that I read, everyone that I looked at that spoke about Peter Spencer spoke highly of him. But the way that they made him seem was that he was very grounded. He was very nature rooted. He was very nice and humble. Like, it didn't come off as, oh, we're just saying this because he's gone. It was the truth. And for y'all to overshadow that, dismiss his story, and then make it seem as if he was the problem, no, we're not okay with it. We're not okay with it. This is enough is enough. I'm looking to see if his fiance or family has made any statements about this, because let's look at the press conference. I'll show you guys the press conference that they did about Peter Spencer today. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it, so we can watch it together.
Criminal Investigation Section Commander.
1 second. WTAE. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna have to pull it up on Facebook because for some reason it's not on YouTube yet, but I'll pull it up on my Facebook. 1 second. And I feel like it's so important. Make sure you guys share this video. Make sure you talk to your family and friends about this story, because y'all really, we have to really protect ourselves. We really have to be aware of what is going on to us in plain sight. And I feel like we lose that because a lot of people rather keep up with the drama, and a lot of people rather talk about trending news. Like right now, y'all know Kanye West is a hot story, and it's like, nah, baby, this is a hot story. This is the things that y'all need to really take heed to, because this could be anyone. This could be any one of us.
And Corporal Aaron.
Okay. Let me get the. Yeah, yes, Joe, you are correct. He was the friend and acquaintance or whatever they did on the campsite. That is correct. His grandmother, the man's grandmother, lives there. I literally had to just take a moment. Made this man a criminal in his own slaughter. Yep. Yeah. How you make someone the bad guy and a criminal, and he's not here to defend himself? But let this be a white person. I'm telling you, let it be a white person. They would have a fit.
Allen of the Pennsylvania State Police Heritage Affairs Section. Also joining us today are Lieutenant William Slayton, Commander of the Heritage Affairs Section, Louis Wires, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, Lieutenant Mark Weindorf, Troop E, Criminal Investigation Section Commander, Corporal Christopher Cole, Franklin Criminal Investigation Unit Supervisor, Trooper Andrew Hagan, Franklin Criminal Investigation Unit, and from the Office of the District Attorney, First Assistant Justin Flieger. After the final speaker, we will open the floor for questions. At this time, I would like to turn the podium over to District Attorney White.
Good afternoon. Before I begin, I would like to remind everybody why we're here.
This don't even look like somebody. He looked exactly like what I thought he was gonna look like. Let me just say that.
On December 12th, a young man tragically lost his life in Venango County. It has been said that we are not paying attention to that, or we haven't cared about that, and nothing could be more further from the truth. From the very first day, our local law enforcement has done their due diligence in doing their investigation of every bit of evidence on this matter, as has have my office also. I was called to the scene. I was there from day one. It has consumed almost every waking moment that we've had for the last 90 days. And anybody who says anything to the contrary is wrong. Now, that being said, I'm Sean White. I'm the DA. This was my case and my decision. I've been the DA here now. I'm starting my.
Do y'all feel like he is coming off as very matter of factish? Like, this doesn't come off as, how dare you guys question like my heart? How dare you guys question like where I stand and what I do and how I take my job seriously and, protecting the lives of the community? Or does it come off as, which I ain't about to do was come in here and tell me that I don't care about this black man because I was there. I was there. My cousin is black. Like, he is really coming off as if he is doing us a favor and that we need to look at this as such. Like, now let me introduce myself. Boy, please. Child, please.
9th year. Prior to that, I had 36 years in criminal litigation. I've done over 300 criminal jury trials. And so I think I'm a little bit, experienced to look at criminal matters, to look at evidence, and to know the procedure that needs to be followed when we're doing an investigation of this magnitude. I want to thank some people here today before I get too much further. I want to thank the local Pennsylvania State Police and Trooper Andy Hagan. He was the one in charge of the investigation. I believe they did a phenomenal job that we're going to cover here, that you've been given kind of an outline on and a statement on the total investigation that was done. I want to thank Heritage Affairs with the Pennsylvania State Police. They've been invaluable to me on how we needed to approach this investigation under the circumstances. I also want to thank the Pennsylvania State Attorney General's office, as well as the Department of Justice, the ATF, and the FBI. It's been said by many different people on social media over the last 90 days, well, other agencies need to take this investigation over. I have news for you now. The other agencies were already involved from day one. They are completely aware of all the facts and circumstances and have been. And the Pennsylvania State Attorney General's office was already involved in this case before the victim ever appeared in Venango County.
Stop. This is my issue. It's the fact that you coming on here really telling us this shit like, oh, and I have you know it, they always been involved. That's the problem. What was his family and friends fighting for? Oh, let's remember, communication. So none of y'all actively communicated with anyone to tell them we are doing our part. This is who we have in place. This is what we're doing. It was very much so no communication. So how it's been investigated this whole entire time. Y'all been around since day 0 seconds at 0 hours. The moment his body fell to the ground, y'all was there. But yet y'all couldn't communicate to his fiance or his mother or his brother, because what they said was the complete opposite. They didn't know what the fuck was going on with their loved one. But y'all had all these people around and couldn't no one pick up the phone and give them something? Read his body language. Read his body language. Like he's like, he mad at us.
There was already an ongoing investigation, which I'll allude to later. I want to tell you that silence, I've been criticized for not saying something in the last 90 days. Most reporters, when they call, already understand. Under the rules of professional conduct, I cannot say anything about an ongoing investigation. I have quoted that numerous times. Please tell the general public, I'm not allowed. That was never said in anybody's narrative, only that no comment can be given. The rules of professional conduct are there for a reason. The prosecutor is not allowed to try these things in a social manner so that opinion is biased or prejudiced against any future trial for any defendant.
Listen to how, and this is why I preach to y'all the importance of making sure that y'all read, make sure y'all know how laws and policies and practices are for your state. Can y'all tell me what he just said that makes no sense to what we needed? He's the DA. Sir, we know you can't speak because you're speaking from the point of what? Court. But the family was supposed to be speaking to the who? Detectives. Not you. The detectives, they know exactly who they were supposed to talk to, and they know exactly who was supposed to be giving them the peace of mind. Not you, sir. We know you come in last. What the fuck? Like, you don't, this is what bothers me, and I'm so sorry for my language. This is my real raw reaction. Don't sit up here and play in our faces like, oh, I have to uphold my conduct of professionalism. You are the DA. We are talking about the investigation from the standpoint of the investigators. That's it. We know what you do. We know what you're supposed to do. But the thing is, the family never got a contact number. The family never got a detective that gave them any answers. The family never was able to really get any answers from the moment they pulled up to that crime scene. The DA mad like somebody took Peter Spencer from him. And it's the complete opposite. And that's why we push for so much reform. This is why we talk about really, really, really what the issue is. Y'all, we need people that care. And it's quite blatant that y'all don't care. The fuck? Like, we know y'all don't care. Joe Blow, you actually make a very good point. Keith Ellison did talk during the Floyd investigation. You are right. But see, I know every state is different, but nonetheless, the detectives are supposed to be the point of contact for this family. Granted, they can't say, yeah, today we're questioning da-da-da-da. They're not supposed to go into great detail, but they're supposed to let them know that they are working, and they are supposed to give them that peace of mind, period, point blank. However you want to get it done, that's fine. However you want to say it, that's fine. But to not answer the phone calls, to be matter of fact, to be rude, to be short is unacceptable. And now the DA wants to use his job and his professionalism to dismiss the actions of the detectives.
But the opposite is not true for the social media. But I'm not allowed to comment on that, and I was following the rules of professional conduct. I also want you to know, as I alluded to before, I wasn't just protecting my investigation. The State Attorney General, in conjunction with the ATF task force, was already doing an investigation, and they hadn't completed it yet. And so what I was doing was protecting both investigations and the integrity of both investigations. And if people wanted to be critical, so be it. But I had the law to follow, and I wanted to make sure that the investigations were done properly. I want to also mention in this case that the parties involved, people have indicated whether or not the FBI, the federal people were there. The federal people were, FBI agents were called to our meetings. They were there, they were present. I've spoken with Attorney General Cynthia Chung in Pittsburgh. She's responsible for the Western District. They're completely familiar with all the facts and circumstances. If you want to know from a federal standpoint whether or not there's any hate crime here, I'm not competent to testify to that or give you any answer. That's her jurisdiction. She's aware of the facts. Give her office a call. I also want you to know, too, that in speaking with the State Attorney General, they've been extremely helpful in our investigation for putting certain evidence together that made sense for us in what happened and what went on that night. So I want to thank the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the ATF for helping. Before I get into the specifics of this case, there's something else that I must say at this time. And this is for people who I guess are just not familiar with how Venango County works. No one involved in this investigation, either as a suspect, a victim, or a witness, was even from Venango County. We have been accused in kind of a geographic war of, somebody coming up from the big city and we took advantage of them or lured them. Nobody from Venango County was involved in this. Everybody came in from some other county. The residents in Venango County and Emlenton had absolutely nothing to do with this crime, not in any sense. No one involved in this was hunting. I've seen the narratives out there where 6 white hunters lured somebody from the big city and set him loose in the woods and then ambushed him. It's absolutely false. Nobody was hunting. Nobody had any hunting weapons. I'll get to the weapons in a second and you'll see who brought them to the scene. No one was hunting. And no one was lured or pursued. You'll also see from the statement that we're going to go over how the victim ended up here in Venango County, as did the other people involved in this.
So to be clear, hey, Miss Rye. So to be clear, the friend, I can't remember his name. Is it Nathan? Nate? I can't remember his name. His family owns a cabin in Venango County. So technically, he's familiar with the area. That granny that owns the cabin, definitely she from Venango, and she was involved. Anyway, more importantly, we'll get into the weapons and who brought them. Do y'all hear how he's speaking? Like, he is very inconvenienced that y'all brought this shit to him. Like, truly. He is so inconvenienced that Peter Spencer, expectant father, a son, a life, is no longer here, and he has to answer to it. Like, he is upset, and not because he wants to fight for justice, but because he's sick of us. Exactly, Joe. If you couldn't talk about it, you should have given a press conference or a video of an interview saying as much. He was hunted, period. You can't get me to believe he wasn't hunted. I don't care what you say. I don't care any way that you flip it. This man was the only one that left. And he didn't leave with a black eye. He didn't leave with 1 hole to his body. He left with 9, with 6 white people. And you on this press conference, it's so disrespectful to Peter Spencer. It is so disrespectful. You got to be careful of how you treat people, but you really need to be careful how you speak on the dead and how you treat the dead. This is just, oof.
This case by invitation. The safety and the well-being of the people of Venango County was never at risk. We wouldn't do that to them. This was a controlled investigation. The actor called 911 at 2:17 a.m. in the morning on 12/12. It wasn't a whodunit. The situation was controlled, and at no time was anybody at risk, as I've indicated. Now, that being said, this is a rather complex litigation. A lot of work has been done on this. I want to make sure that we cover this. I'm going to read because I think at this point it's necessary. The only thing worse than me reading it is probably you listening to it. But at this point, I feel in order to be as accurate as is humanly possible in the presentation of this so everybody knows, I'm going to have to do so, and it's probably going to reference that document that you've already been handed. So to begin with, what I'd like everybody to know is, on December 12th of 2021 at 2:17 a.m., the Venango County 911 Dispatch Center received a phone call from the suspect in this case, and the summary of what reported is as follows. The suspect had invited some friends to his family's camp located along the Allegheny River outside of Emlenton Borough here in Venango County. He and his friends were drinking around the campfire, and his one friend, the victim in this case, Peter Spencer, got out his AK-47 assault rifle and started shooting it into the air. Spencer started yelling at them and demanding them to get more wood for the fire, which they had built during the evening hours there on December 12th. He was pointing the AK-47 assault rifle at the suspect, and the suspect shot Spencer with his with his pistol. This is only after a scene wherein Spencer had, in their witnesses' terms, seemed to have lost his mind, went insane, couldn't be reasoned with, was reckless with the AK-47. And so that's how it was reported to 911. The suspect emptied his pistol, and Spencer was dead. The suspect and another witness, witness number one, then drove up to where they had phone service. In this location where they were at, there was no phone service where they could get to call the authorities. They stopped off at a neighbor's house first to explain what the noise was about, the gunshots, and then went and got phone service and called at 2:17 a.m. Pennsylvania State Police responded to the call.
Hold on, y'all. I wanted to stop it right there because I, like I said, this is my first time watching it with y'all, and I didn't want to lose my train of thought. So just to go back, let me just make sure that we all heard this correctly. Peter Spencer pulled out he lost his mind. I mean, the sun went down, the moon went up, and Peter Spencer turned into a werewolf. He went out of body. He lost his mind randomly for firewood. Huh? For firewood? So he had the AK-47 out. First, y'all heard him say it was in the air, but then somehow it got on the suspect over firewood. And the suspect emptied his weapon on Spencer. What? And it's just so coincidentally that Peter Spencer lost his life because he lost his mind. You're not getting me to believe this shit. Like, what? There was 6 other men. 6. And Peter had them shaking with his AK-47, but his AK-47 wasn't faster than the 9mm pistol. Because if he lost his mind, let me just make this plain from the way that I'm seeing this in my head. If Peter Spencer lost his mind, how he didn't get one shot off? He had to see you pull out your gun. If his gun was pointing at you, he didn't, not one bullet hit, nothing ricochet, nothing. You was able to empty 9 bullets into him, and they were all over his body. Why was some in his back? Why was one in his neck? And why was the rest to his chest? You skipped over those details, sir. You skipped over it. You skipped over it. I'm not buying a man lost his mind and didn't shoot you. There's no way. There's no way. And he has a AK-47. Ain't that a semi-automatic or something? Let me ask my husband. Babe. Hold on, because I'm pretty sure that is. I don't know. Let me just make sure. Yes. Okay. I knew I wasn't wrong. Yes. So you mean to tell me he couldn't get he didn't get nothing? Nobody got nothing. And this was all over wood. He lost his mind. So when he lost his mind, was his arm still? Was it just on the AK-47? I don't understand how you was able to act faster with your 9mm versus an AK-47. I know someone with an AK-47, baby, and you gonna be looking like Swiss. I'm not understanding. This don't make sense. You're not getting me to I don't get it. I don't get it. You got your little pow and he got his big pow, but your little pow was faster than him and he lost his mind and he already had the gun on you. Come on now.
By meeting the suspect and the witness at a nearby church.
Oh, let's not skip over the fact that instead of getting him help, when they had to coincidentally leave because there's no cell phone service in this cabin, they stopped at the neighbor's house to tell them the story first. Excuse me? The neighbors will figure out when they figure out. But whatever, y'all. Whatever.
And then they followed him to the scene. The suspect's 9mm pistol used in the shooting was collected as evidence. Upon arrival at the camp, the victim was located in the yard of the camp, face down near a smoldering fire, with no evidence that the body had been tampered with or moved. The garage for this particular residence, in front of which he was found, is detached from the home. The home, if I can describe it any further for you, is a rather dilapidated, rundown home. It's not even used as a residence or a living quarters, and the family was using it for storage. It was determined by the Pennsylvania State Police that Spencer was deceased at that time. The AK-47 assault rifle was collected, and it was located in the front of the garage. The suspect reported that he had moved the rifle away from Spencer's body after the shooting, and the suspect clarified that in so doing, he had cleared the rifle by removing the loaded magazine and clearing a round from the chamber. The suspect then placed the AK-47 assault rifle magazine and round he ejected from it on the ground in front of the garage. The scene was processed and documented by Pennsylvania State Police Forensic Services Unit. Now, let me be clear here. We were kind of, I think, held in contempt, maybe looking like the forensic unit hadn't even reported until about 9:30, and so we were late coming to the scene. That's absolutely incorrect. Myself and my first assistant had arrived at the scene at 4:45 a.m., and there were already Pennsylvania State Police there, securing the scene, separating the witnesses, and making sure that everybody was protected until they got there. Our forensic unit that we use sometimes has to come from a great distance. They might have come a little bit later after the scene was already secured, but that's why they were there, to collect the physical evidence that we would have needed. A total of 29 undischarged cartridges were collected with the AK-47 assault rifle. A second magazine that was empty was located in the yard. 31 discharged AK-47 rounds were located scattered about in the yard area and along the road in front of the campsite. 11 discharged 9mm casings were located in a grassy area in front of the garage. 1 slug was recovered from the ground beside the victim's body. A Diamondback AR-15 assault rifle was discovered in the detached garage in a black gun case lying on the floor. So now I think it's time and appropriate to discuss the AK-47 and the AR-15.
The AK-47 had 31 bullets out, right? No one was hit. 31 bullets. No one was hit. AK-47, 31 bullets, and a man who allegedly lost his mind. No one was shot. Was a neighbor's window out? They all were in the grass. Did he lose his mind and his vision? What the hell? Can y'all tell me if y'all believe this? Please tell me if this makes sense. Like, am I some Black power person that I'm not hearing this story? Like, am I the problem with hearing this? Because I am someone, it really has to make sense. Y'all know I'm very, very anal. I'm very, I pay the hell attention. I always have. It bothers me to not. And I've never, 31 bullets and not one person got shot, not even grazed. You have to be joking. And now he's about to have a whole segment on what the guns were. And then why did the suspect take the gun, move it all the way by the garage, and continue to empty the clip? Why? What was the reason? Spencer, you shot him 9 times. What was you doing with the bullets, sir? Why did you do that? No one got shot, but he was acting like a wild man. No one even got elbowed. No one even had a busted lip. Like, girl, I got more bruises. I cannot. This sounds like make believe. It definitely does. Like, it does not sound real. It does not sound real. We're going to probably have to finish this in a part 2 because I have to cook dinner. And this is an hour-long press conference. And I have a feeling that they're going to eat his ass alive in this in the questioning part. But let's hear what he has to say about the guns.
The witnesses placed the AK-47 in the hands of the victim, Spencer, during the most critical time before the shooting that took place. The victim's fiancée had arrived in that morning to pick him up. She was notified, of course, that he was now deceased. She gave a recorded statement. In that statement, she was asked, "Have you ever known the victim to be around guns?" The answer she gave to us at that time was no. Did you know him to take anything when he was dropped off at 2:55 p.m. the day before, December 11th? Her response was, no, I didn't see him take anything. So we had conflicting evidence from the very first morning as to where these assault rifles came from. The AK-47 assault rifle had an obliterated serial number on it. The AR-15 was lying in the garage. The witnesses indicated that Spencer had brought those with him. He had them in a black case, and he put them in the garage. So the first bit of evidence was, is this evidence true? And what do we rely upon for the right source of information? And now I'm going to draw you to the State Attorney General here that we had for the investigation with ours in Venango County. The State Attorney General was already investigating these matters with the victim and some of his acquaintances in the Pittsburgh area. I can't go into a great deal about it because the investigation is not mine. It's not quite yet complete, but that's the task force in the ATF. And in my humble opinion, they're trying in this case to develop whether or not there's ghost guns, gun trafficking, assault rifles going out into the general public, which they're trying to stop and prevent, and which I support. They determined that even though the serial number might have been removed from the AK-47, that the Pennsylvania State Lab ballistics found another number hidden in the gun. And then it was the State Attorney General who was able to trace that particular weapon to the Pittsburgh area where it was purchased, to the next person that had it, and to the next person then it gave it to the victim in this case, with the serial number still intact. How the serial number became obliterated, well, we're not certain, but the last person to have it was Peter Spencer. And that AR-15 that was found in the case in the garage, it was purchased by the victim's fiancée. So I believe there's compelling evidence in this case to show that those assault rifles were brought to the scene by the victim, nobody else. I will say in this case also that in addition to the guns, the suspect and Spencer had planned on doing some shooting at the camp. The suspect in this case had indicated that he had shot guns before with the victim. They had been to each other's house. They had done work together. They had been mutual friends for the past 4 years. And the suspect also indicated that that's where the AK-47 came from. Also found at the scene was some marijuana, a digital scale, various drug paraphernalia was also found at the scene. And there were no operating cameras. The camera that I think a news crew found.
This man wants to address all the damn gossip. Okay, so basically what he said in a nutshell was, when they initially spoke to Peter Spencer's fiance, they asked her, like, hey, are you aware that he had any firearms? And she claims no. And then they asked, if she's aware that he took any substances, and she was like, no. But mind you, she's in shock. So I'm not, who knows what she went when she was answering these questions? Who knows what she was thinking? But I'm not even going to lie to y'all. When we hear about Black men being killed, we automatically know y'all gonna pin a gun on us. So it's like, no, like it just, I don't know. But to hear that y'all really did a whole investigation on where these guns came from still does not bypass the fact that he didn't shoot y'all with these guns. No one got a bullet besides him. If he had these firearms and he was just some trigger happy person, how did y'all get missed with 31 rounds or 31 bullets? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And oh yeah, there was no operating cameras, no operating phones, and everything just was based off of the account of the 6 white men. Yeah, you got it. We know.
Found some weeks later was a dummy camera that we had already seen and determined was inoperable. If we had video evidence, I would let you know that right now. There was no video evidence or operating camera at the scene. Located also at the scene was a zipper wallet that was in Spencer's pocket containing his driver's license, Social Security card, and other personal documents. Also on his person was an AR-15 magazine containing 29 undischarged cartridges, and they were collected from his front pants pocket. A gray iPhone belonging to the victim was recovered, and that also was in his pants pocket. A red iPhone belonging to witness number 1 was collected from Spencer's pocket. 2 sets of car keys were observed lying on the ground approximately 2 to 2.5 feet from Spencer's body. 1 set of car keys belonged to witness 1. The second set of keys belonged to witness number 2. And a plastic bag containing mushroom and or mushrooms, later confirmed to contain psychedelic substance psilocin, was located in Spencer's hooded sweatshirt pocket. All 4 witnesses were then taken and transported to the local barracks. They had been separated at the scene. They remained separated at the barracks. They were interviewed separately. Myself, Mr. Flieger, took part and watched those interviews take place on that very first morning. All 4 witnesses were very compelling and very consistent in what happened. And I'm now going to try to outline for you the substance of what their stories and statements were on that very first morning.
So y'all rather tell us about car keys, but you didn't tell us if he tested positive for any of these psychedelic shrooms. You didn't tell us if he tested positive for any of the drugs. Tell us if he tested positive. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, like, shrooms don't make you angry, do they? Every time I hear about people in shrooms, I thought that you just be like, whoa. I don't know. Maybe it's the movies. I truly don't know. I've never done that. I don't do that type of stuff. But he lost his mind, and y'all coincidentally found shrooms in his front pocket and a shit ton of weapons. Okay.
Earlier in the week, the suspect, who is from Mercer, invited some friends to his dad's camp as a getaway weekend. Witness number 1 is from Ohio. Witness number 2 from Newcastle, and witness number 3 is from Newcastle. 2 and 3 are dating each other. 1 is a male, 1 is a female. They came in separate vehicles, but they were together. And then there was also Spencer, who is from the Allegheny County area. None of these 4 knew each other outside of knowing the suspect. And with the exception of witnesses 2 and 3, who were boyfriend and girlfriend, this was the first time they were meeting. The suspect and Spencer were friends for years and had worked with each other, as I indicated. They had been at each other's family residences, and the suspect had tried to obtain some subcontracting work for the victim in recent months. 2 other individuals were invited and had come and gone earlier in the day. They were likewise found and interviewed after all this. They had left so much earlier, however, they could not testify or give any statement about what happened in the evening at the campsite. There were additional people who were invited but never showed up. The suspect, Spencer, and the other 3 witnesses spent the day off-roading together. After returning to the camp, they decided to start a fire. They started drinking and cooking food. A couple hours passed, and there were no problems with anybody who didn't even know each other there at the party. Witness number 3, the female, went to sleep in the bus that was owned by witness number 2 because she was cold and tired. She was the last one to arrive at the particular camp. She was tired, and she has testified about what happened after she was awoken in the camper. In addition to alcohol being consumed, the suspect, witness 1, and Spencer were smoking marijuana and ultimately used psychedelic mushrooms brought to the camp by witness 1. The victim then started saying that
The mushrooms was brought by witness 1, but they was in Peter Spencer's pocket. Y'all said he lost his mind, but you just said that he smoked weed and took a damn mushroom, so he didn't lose his mind. Which one is it? Like, the Coolest Jazz says, of course, Ohio. You know how many of these cases of hunting down that they cover up in this state? Girl, I already know. So yeah, he took a psychedelic. Yeah, I didn't say if he tested positive for it. Maybe it leaves your system fast. I don't know. But this is the accounts from the people around.
he wanted to build up the fire that they had created and did so to never his satisfaction. He wanted it bigger and bigger. The suspect and witness 2 started getting more firewood from behind the house and carried it to the fire. Spencer then brought out his AK-47 assault rifle to the area of the fire pit. As the suspect and witness 2 were going back and forth getting more firewood, Spencer fired a few shots in the air. Witness 2 told the suspect he didn't feel safe and that they should try to get the assault rifle away from him. Witness 1 started helping the suspect and witness 2 get more firewood. Witness 1 also told the suspect he was a little scared. The victim kept getting louder and louder, with some of what he was saying be unintelligible, like it was another language. Now, this is being reported by the witnesses. None of us were there, so what I'm telling you is what they told law enforcement on that morning. Spencer started proclaiming that he was a god and a creator and master and manipulator of his own reality. Spencer proceeded to fire more and more shots, demanding that the other 3 gather more wood for the fire. This went on for approximately 45 minutes to an hour, with bursts of shots being fired by Spencer in the air and around the vehicles at the camp. The suspect attempted to de-escalate the situation and convince Spencer to give up the gun, but Spencer couldn't be reasoned with and started becoming more angry as time wore on. Witness 1 stopped gathering firewood at a later point and went to his car. Spencer stopped him and demanded his car keys and phone, telling him, "You're not going anywhere." And he had pointed the AK assault rifle right at the witness and instructed him to get on the ground and kneel, and that he, Spencer, was a god. Witness 1 complied and was then instructed by Spencer to sprawl out on the ground at gunpoint. Witness 1 again complied. It was at this point the suspect grabbed his 9mm pistol from a nearby picnic table and placed it in his waistband behind his back. Things, according to what he will say later that we will go over, has now escalated beyond just being reckless. Witness 2 entered his bus in an attempt to leave. After starting the bus, Witness 2 was instructed by Spencer to give him his keys. Witness 2 remained on the floor of the bus at that point. Now, this is already after Witness 2 had entered the bus, awoken his girlfriend, and told her to hide underneath the bed because the shots were becoming so reckless. She had remained in this period of time, and now he had joined her. Spencer became extremely angry that everyone refused to follow his instructions to gather wood. Spencer started swearing at the suspect and pointing the AK-47 assault rifle in his face. He also started demanding to know where the girl was, witness number 3. The suspect lied to Spencer and told him that witness 3 was in the house sleeping. Witness 3, by that time, was already awake, as I indicated, and on the floor of the bus. The suspect again tried to calm down the victim, and he needed to stop his actions. Spencer then repeatedly demanded to know where the girl was and stated he would shoot up the place if he needed to. Spencer pushed the suspect out in front of him to get the other witness, witness 3. The suspect, knowing that Spencer had taken the car keys of the 2 witnesses at gunpoint and prevented them from leaving, and witness 1 on the ground and witness 2 and 3 were on the floor of the bus, and there being threats made to shoot the place, the suspect believed that Spencer intended to kill all of them. The suspect turned around and with the AK-47 assault rifle pointed at him by Spencer, drew his 9mm pistol. The suspect fired all the rounds in the pistol at Spencer, who fell to the ground and dropped the AK-47 assault rifle. A neighboring camp owner, who I will remind you again was not from Venango County, gave the following statement. On December the 11th, 2021, at approximately 11:58 p.m., he and his wife began hearing gunshots in the area of the suspect's father's.
I just want to know how. So everybody was just collecting firewood. Everybody was just, oh my God, I'm gonna get the firewood. I'm gonna make them happy to build this big fire, because that's what the Mr. White just said, that they, that Spencer was so out of his mind. He wanted a big fire. Nobody wanted to hit the man in the head with the firewood. No one wanted to shoot him in the kneecap. They wanted to shoot him 9 times, and he was able to do all this. Like, okay.
Camp. They heard approximately 5 to 6 shots that were fired quickly. No other shots were fired for approximately 20 to 30 minutes. And then at approximately 12:30 a.m., they heard more gunshots, 5 or 6 quickly. There was another break lasting 10 to 30 minutes. And approximately 1 a.m., they heard 12 to 15 shots. At 1:30 a.m., the neighbors heard the final 5 to 6 shots fired quickly. And these were the last shots that they heard. These witnesses' statements also compare with what the other witnesses had told us for the intermittent shots back and forth. Spencer's iPhone was searched and documented. I want to again thank the State Attorney General for helping us get the passcode for that phone to find the information that we needed. We were looking for December 11th and December 12th from the victim's phone to see what the information was. The phone contents revealed conversations between the suspect and Spencer that were of a friendly nature. There was video and photographic contents that revealed that the victim was with the group a significant time leading up to the incident. They were off-roading and visiting various local sites, including Freedom Falls and Kennerdale. For those unfamiliar with it, it's just a scenic location in Venango County. It's a waterfalls. There was video depicted the group having what appeared to be a good time at the camp. They were also cutting down trees for firewood, and nobody had any problem with each other's company while they were there. And again, at no time was anybody hunting, nor was anyone depicted hunting on that occasion. Now, the most important piece of evidence that I needed from all this.
He keeps trying to make emphasis on the fact that no one was ever hunting and that was never true. Okay, so let's backtrack, because this is where my questions are coming in, and maybe we can go over this tomorrow. I'm not sure, but so they basically said that the fiance was a liar because she told the police that no, she didn't know anything about any weapons. But yet they said that they now know that the weapons was registered to her, or that she purchased them, and that they were in 2 black cases. These are very large weapons, you guys. The AR and the AK. These are large weapons. So if they were not ever going to go hunting, and say, for instance, the fiance knew the whole time that, did see Peter with the guns, why she never stopped him and said, why are you taking 2 big guns? Who came up with the hunting story? Are y'all saying that Peter made this story up? Like, it's not making sense. This is not making sense. And Cece brought up a good point. Victim 1's statement said that he was on the ground. He was requested to be on the ground. So how did he get off the ground to get the gun off the picnic table in enough time to avoid crazy Peter Spencer. Yeah, like the neighbors are gonna back up the story. Like you're not gonna no. This is the thing, Joe. That the White already said that when they was on their way to find a working phone, they stopped at the neighbor's house to tell them what happened. So their witness statements are baloney. Y'all just said that they went there to tell them what happened. Are you sure that this witness statement wasn't coerced? What or not coerced, wasn't, told and discussed upon each other? Like, I don't know. It's not, this story isn't, it's not adding up. I got too many questions.
Came from the forensic pathologist, Dr. Eric Vey. I'm just going to say a few words now because you probably are unfamiliar with our procedure here. Our local coroner has taken a whole lot of heat about turning stuff over. She doesn't have a dog in this fight. Our local coroner does not do the autopsy. She transports the body to Erie County, where we have a contract with Eric Vey, who's done them for Venango County for years. It's been my experience that Dr. Vey does not give you a written report a minimum of 8 weeks after the autopsy is performed. And when I say a minimum, I mean a minimum. It could be a little longer. This was one of the most important pieces of evidence I needed to show me what the wounds were to the victim's body, who was lying face down with no other tampering. I needed to know entry wounds. I needed to know exit wounds. I needed to know the number of shots. I needed to know the trajectory. And then I needed to know from ballistics how to match that with the forensic report that I got from Dr. Vey. I want you to know that I received that report on Friday, February 25th. That was the first day I received it. It's signed February 18th, but due to mailing with a holiday that occurred that following Monday, I received it in the mail on Friday, February 25th.
They don't fax. They don't fax. Y'all mailing these things? Huh? They mailed that, y'all? They mailed this report. They did not fax it. Yes, CC, I wrote that down because I had questions. I'm gonna watch this again because I don't know. It didn't make sense because he did say earlier that they called and they arrived at around 2:38 or something like that. But the last shots or rounds was heard at 1. Yeah, it didn't make sense. But they didn't say if they heard screaming. They didn't hear any of that. Yeah, Anisha, they sending autopsies in the mail, sis. In the mail? In 2022? Like, y'all sent this snail mail? Talking about it was a holiday, Nah, baby, why you didn't email it? It's scanned and electronically encrypted and sent over. That's what I'm saying. Like, what?
It did not have the photos accompanying that report. So that following Monday, Monday the 28th, I sent my county detective to Erie. He picked up the photos and he dropped the photos and a copy of the report off at Dr. Cyril Weck's office that very same day, February 28th. I have not delayed these proceedings. I have not delayed the victim's family's request that we get this to Cyril Weck, and he's had it since Monday, February 28th. I also want you to know we thought we could have this completed by last week. We were going to. It was scheduled. And I was trying to bring this in when I told everybody I thought the minimum would be. The victim's family's attorney was not available last week. That's why we got it to today. Now I'm going to talk about the autopsy. The autopsy was performed by Dr. Vey. In summary, reveals that Spencer was struck 9 times. The gun, the 9mm, had exactly 11 shots in it. There were 2 entry wounds to the front torso and upper right chest, exiting through the back. There was 1 entry wound to the face, which was non-lethal, through the lower lip, exiting through the side of the neck. There were 2 closely grouped entry wounds to the side, underneath the right arm. 2 entry wounds to the back, which were superficial and grazing wounds, and 2 closely grouped entry wounds in the buttocks. Upon a complete review of the autopsy report, the location and trajectory of these wounds are consistent with the suspect's statements and support that Spencer was initially facing the suspect when the shooting began, and then proceeded to twist and turn and fall in the plane of gunfire. Now, human behavior with the Pennsylvania State Police has been the one who has given the best help to me in trying to describe this to you. 11 bullets in that gun under a fight or flight type of emotion would have been taken about 2 to 2.5 seconds to be emptied from that firearm. This is not a lengthy amount of time. 2 to 2.5 seconds. You are not seeing the victim running away. And I want to tell you, based upon the autopsy, 9 wounds to the back and the neck. 7 of them were exit wounds. I'm going to try to point them out to you now as best as I can. Wound to the front lip that went through the side of the neck, exit wound. I've seen comments on social media, take a look at the victim's back. This wound in the neck is an exit wound. There was a shot to the right chest and to the left chest that went straight through the victim. Exit wounds to the back. He was found lying face down. The suspect in this case indicated they were face to face when the shooting began. We believe that's accurate based upon finding the body. Human behavior with the Pennsylvania State Police then indicates that what you see from that point on is the twisting and the turning of the victim. 2 shots were located here, almost directly under the armpit. Those are entry wounds. They exited also through the back. As the victim is now crumpling and falling forward, his back is almost even with the firing arm. In that case, both shots grazed and barely got underneath the skin of the victim in this case. One was actually parallel with the spine. The last 2 were in the buttocks. The trajectory of those went into the abdomen, not straight through him. The victim at that point is falling down in those 2 to 2.5 seconds that it took to discharge all these cartridges from this firearm. Therefore, what you see is, again, exactly what Human Behavior Services through the Pennsylvania State Police has told me. You saw the victim twisting and turning through the plane of gunfire.
Wait, y'all. Wait. I'm confused. This was 2 to 2.5 seconds. The body was twisting and turning as he was falling down. And when he was twisting and turning, I don't... This is a horrible story, like, to even listen to. Like, it is, I am drained. I think I have went through every emotion on this live. Now I'm damn near in tears. Like, Can somebody tell me in the chat why he started shooting again? Why did he start shooting again? I think I missed that, and I don't want to go back. But if y'all can't remember, I'm gonna watch this again. But why did he start shooting again? Two seconds. And they said that in their state of Pennsylvania, that fits stand your ground. He could have emptied the whole clip. 2 seconds.
This is not a case where he was shot once, disabled, and then somebody went on up and executed him after that. This is not a case where you will find somebody pointed a gun in his mouth and shot execution style. There was no stippling that was found by Dr. Vey, which means the gun was a distance from the victim at the time the shooting began. A ballistics report was now prepared by the Pennsylvania State Police after the collection of the slugs and the shell casings. There were 7 slugs recovered from Peter Spencer. There was 1 on the ground beside his body. All 8 slugs were sent, along with the casings, to the ballistics section. Both the AK-47 assault rifle and the 9mm pistol were determined to be fully functional. All 31 discharged AK-47 shell casings recovered were analyzed and determined to have been fired from that assault rifle. All 11 discharged 9mm casings recovered at the scene were determined to have been fired by the suspect's 9mm pistol. Additionally, the 7 slugs recovered from Spencer's body during the autopsy and the 1 slug recovered from the ground beside Spencer's body was found and determined to have been fired from the suspect's 9mm pistol. The results of the ballistic report are consistent with what the suspect and the witnesses have indicated. He was not ambushed. There were not multiple shooters. There was 1. And thus far, ballistics and the autopsy has again confirmed what the witnesses' statements were from that night. A blood sample was drawn from the victim's body at the autopsy for purposes of toxicology testing. The sample was sent to NMS Labs for analysis. The toxicology results notably revealed the presence of alcohol, small amount, THC, marijuana, and psilocin. Psilocin is a hallucinogenic that can cause panic attacks and psychosis. The toxicology report is consistent with statements of the witnesses, and discovery an additional uneaten mushroom contained psilocin that was located in his hoodie pocket. Toxicologists will tell you limited amounts of these type of mushrooms can cause one to suffer or have certain hallucinations that are euphoric, colorful, but then there is a very fine line where an overdose of these, for somebody who's not experienced, they can very quickly go to a dark place, full of anger, distrust, and anxiety. And I believe from the toxicology report, the witness's statements that he consumed mushrooms puts him into where he got angered during that last 45 minutes, and especially during the last 10 minutes of his life when he was threatening the other witnesses. The 2 firearms brought by Spencer were processed, and I've already indicated to you where they came from. When we talk
witness number 1 brought the mushrooms. So is he being charged for bringing these mushrooms that made this happen? I'm exhausted. This is the sad reality, because it's like we don't have that much trust in these people anyway, so we have no choice. I mean, we can't help but to be suspicious. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't believe any of this. I don't. And the way he's acting doesn't make me want to believe him, because he's not coming off as sincere. He's not coming off as, I really did my job and I took this seriously. He's really coming off as an asshole. An asshole. Like, yeah, motherfuckers, I told you. That's what I'm getting from this. Not this is so unfortunate that I'm here today presenting this information to you. I wish I didn't have to present this at all. I wish Peter Spencer was at home. I just don't trust him. I don't. And he's not giving me anything to trust. None of his words. Like, I got literally over here paper because I'm taking notes.
talk about whether or not the victim had been around guns before, I'm going to let his prior criminal background kind of answer that statement for me.
I'm done. I'm not playing it. Nope. I'm not playing it. I'm not. Nope. I'm going to have to end this live here, y'all. I'm going to have to end this here. This is what I mean. I'm going to let his prior criminal background tell you. I don't give a fuck about that. He didn't shoot nobody. Not one shot landed on nobody but him. And he had the fastest gun. Nope. I'm not playing it. I'm going to link this and y'all can watch the rest of it, but I'm not. Not on my platform. Absolutely not. No, not today. Nope. Nope. No. Absolutely not. I'm sorry, y'all. I am so sorry to do that. But that is one of my biggest problems with this shit, with the law enforcement when it comes to Black men, Black people being killed. Why are we talking about his criminal history? Why? Why? That does not negate the fact that he should not be dead. This is the issue. Some of the worst. Y'all know people who hurt children. You know people who hurt police officers. We can't go out and kill them and bring up their past as justification. We cannot. So when y'all bring this up, his past, his criminal background, whatever y'all want to say, brings no justification to what took place, especially when none of these people, all these people was allegedly just went through horror this night with this crazy Black man, but not one of them was touched. Why? What was the line? If he was so crazy, why he didn't knock y'all the fuck out? Why he didn't shoot y'all? Like, I'm not here for it. Yes, cool, Jazz. I have to go in the bush and weep. I really do have to go in the bush and weep. I'm not. This was the worst. Yeah, if I was on camera right now, and I'm not doing it because I got a pimple and I'm not trying to be vain, but this pimple hurt. And yeah, them look big. But anyway, I wish I could see my reaction because I look berserk. I look like I'm going crazy because I went through every emotion on this live with y'all. I feel like Peter Spencer is my brother or something. Let me go ahead and link this video to this description because we're going to end it here. I had a whole different live plan for y'all. I haven't been here for a whole week because these stories are very hard to do. I had to get my mind right. And I may have to leave for another week because I'm going to be back in the bush. I'm in the bushes weeping, y'all. I am through. I'm through. Asshole. He was a jerk. But yeah, I don't play like that type of stuff on my platform. If we come back and talk about it, we still skipping over the criminal background. I want y'all to know this right here and right now. We are not talking about Peter Spencer's criminal background. Period, point blank. Come in my comments about Peter Spencer's criminal background, you're getting blocked. You might get cussed out, then you're getting blocked. I will take time in YouTube jail to cuss you the fuck out. Okay? We're not talking about it. We're not. We can't talk about nobody else's. We can't talk about Kyle Rittenhouse crazy ass background and all the shit he does or he did before he got found not guilty. But see, we don't get that luxury in America. We don't get to make mistakes. We don't get to get a get out of jail card. We don't get to go camping with a friend. Because somehow when we get around white people, we get angry and aggressive and mean. Like, I'm starting to not understand. Like, what the hell? It's always the same story. We get around these white people and we lose our goddamn minds. Stop going around white people, y'all. Because it's something in the air. Our pheromones don't mix. And you are going to end up being the crazy one. every single time. Even when we have video, audio proof of them other effers going crazy on us, we will always be the crazy ones. And to back up their narrative of being crazy, they will bring up something that you did 10 years ago to justify you being dead now. We don't have a right to bear arms. We don't have a right to have a bad day. We don't have a right to be Black in America. It's sick. It is sick. It's sick. It's sick. I have never seen a press conference this ghetto, this malicious, this ignorant, this downright degrading. And the only thing I can think about is Peter Spencer's mom saying that she forgives these people. I pray she keeps that in the forefront. I pray that she keeps a level head, because ain't no forgiving shit. Ain't no forgiving shit. We'll be back tomorrow to discuss and further about this Peter Spencer case. I am so sorry for my behavior on this live. If y'all are new here and don't know how I get down, but welcome. I hope you stay. And I will see y'all in the next video, you guys. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video on your way out.
And thank you. Oh yeah, thank you, Ms. Marcel. Yo, all props to you. And just be you doing what you doing. And you got a voice. Keep doing what you doing. And you got a voice.